everyone, welcome to this webinar in the series of webinars that we've been doing here at Certain Limited. The title of our webinar today is Change Management in the COVID-19 Landscape, so very relevant at the minute. We'll have Mark here who will do the webinar with you guys, and then at the end we'll have a Q&A session. So any questions that you might have, if you look on your screen, there's a little white box in the bottom corner that you can pop any questions there for us, and we'll come back to them at the end. So I gave him a brief little intro then, but here he is. This is Mark Eaton. He's our training manager here at Certain Limited. So we've got a few more people just coming in there. Hi guys. So I'm gonna dip out, and I will return at the end for the question and answer session. So I will leave you in Mark's capable hands. Enjoy.
Well, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're all good today. As you can see, we've got a slightly different layout that we're trying out, so that we some of the feedback from the last one was that it was nice to see my face and see the slides at the same time. So we've tried that out using Adobe Connect as we do. So today we're going to talk about change management. So we're going to talk about the process of change. How do we introduce it into our organisation and ensure that we do it properly? So, you know, as usual, and for those of you who've been on my webinars before, I like to make sure that the definitions, we start out with a good definition so we all have an understanding of what we're talking about. So this is taken off a web-based dictionary, the Webster Dictionary, and it says changes to do or make or become different. And I don't know if you guys use the acronym BAU within your organisations, business as usual, but the idea is that we're going to change business as usual. We're going to change the operational element of our organisation, and for the benefit of the organisation. So it might be that we're trying to be more efficient. So it might be that we're using our money more efficiently or our budget more efficiently. It might be that we're using our human resources more efficiently or our assets more efficiently. Or it might be that we want to be more effective. In other words, that we want to reduce down error, or we want to increase some sort of key performance indicator. You know, it might be income, etc., etc. So to make a change for the better is what we're going to look at. And what I want to do is I just want to give you, to start with, two examples of where organisations have changed. One good and one bad, okay? And just look at the things that they did, yeah, to bring in effective change, and some of the things that we can avoid to bring in effective change, okay? And then at the end, we've got some big news from Certain Limited. So I want to start, and I'm sure that some of you have seen these examples before. So the two examples we're going to look at are Blockbuster and Nokia. And Blockbuster is unfortunately the bad change, okay? In 2007, Blockbuster were a £6 billion organisation, market leaders. Okay, and for those of you who've never met Blockbuster and can't remember that far back, they did video rental through bricks and mortar. You went to the shop, you pulled out the DVD or the video, you took it home and you watched it, and then you took it back. So it's like a lending library type system. And of course, in 2007, the disruptors were people like Netflix and Redbox. Okay, and they were starting to do streaming services. And what a lot of people don't know is in 2007, the CEO from Netflix actually approached Blockbusters to try and work together. Not to merge the companies, but to try to work together, so that Netflix would do the streaming and Blockbusters would work so that they could do the actual DVD rentals and the gaming rentals. Particularly the gaming side of it was quite big at that point in time. And the idea was Netflix would promote Blockbusters for games, and Blockbuster would promote Netflix for film and video. But Blockbusters turned them down, said, no, we see our model as being the model to move forward and to keep going forward. So Blockbusters carried on. Unfortunately, in 2011, Blockbusters went bust. Okay, so they went from a £6 billion organisation, to bankruptcy in 4 years because they didn't change. They didn't recognise the disruptive influence of the internet. And that's something that we can take away, guys. Something that you guys can take away. What are your disruptors at this point in time? So as we sit here today, our biggest disruptor is a little virus. Okay, COVID-19. That's your disruptor. How is that disrupting your organisation, and how are people taking advantage of that disruption to steal your marketplace or to change the marketplace beyond what it is? So, for example, in healthcare, online consultations through video, Zoom or FaceTime, is that affecting you? In education, in education, obviously it's what do we do with students, and once again it's online teaching. How do we effectively online teach? All right, and this is something that we here at Cert Unlimited have spent a lot of time looking at. We've looked at Zoom, we looked at WebEx, we looked at GoToMyPC, and we settled with Adobe Connect because for us this is the best solution. It gives us a much more interactive feel to our courses. And if you come on one of our courses, you'll see how that works. We move different layouts, etc., etc. So Blockbusters are a failure. But then we've got Nokia. And Nokia have been around since about 1860. Before mobile telephones were a thing, and Nokia became big on mobile telephones, they were very well known for their rubber boots, or Wellingtons as we call them, or Wellies. Okay? And it's really important that we remember that Nokia was a market leader in mobile phones until about 2007. And in 2007, just to remind you, Steve Jobs walked onto a stage in San Francisco and pulled an iPhone out of his pocket. At that point, the CEO of Nokia went, oops, because they realized that that was the way that mobile phones were going, and they'd lost it. They'd lost the march. So what they did was they sat down and said, okay, if we're not going to be selling mobile phones, what can we do? And funnily enough, at the same time, they've just got a new CEO in, and the CEO says, right, okay, mobile phones are not going to be a thing. In 2006, 1 out of every 2 mobile phones sold was a Nokia mobile phone. They had 49.6% of the market. By 2011, that had reduced to 3%. So what did they do? They didn't sit on their, presumptions. They said, okay, mobile phones for us is not going to be a thing anymore, and they sold their mobile phone division famously to Microsoft. But what they decided to do was focus on the network side of mobile telephony. So they bought Siemens, they bought Alcatel, and they formed the Nokia network. They are part of the pioneers for 5G, okay? And you will have heard recently that Nokia have just won the contract with the government for actually providing the 5G network in this country because of the Huawei decision. And last week, Nokia published their half-term profits of £3.6 billion for the first half of 2020. So Nokia went from hero to zero and back to hero because they managed change within their organisation well. They acknowledged that they needed to change, they decided on how they were going to change, and they actually then decided, to pursue that particular change. So taking from those 2 examples, how can we create good change? So we've got to create an environment for change, right? And there are a number of steps that I think will create this environment. So the first one is start at the top. The takeaway from the Nokia story is that they got a new CEO, and the new CEO wasn't anchored to mobile phones. And that word's really important, guys. Is your C-suite, your strategists within your organization, are they anchored to where they are now? Are they unable to see a need for change? So that's where we've got to start. We've got to start from the top. Okay? And we've got to create what's known as a sustainable wave of change. If it's just driven from the top, it'll break and it'll die. If it's driven from the bottom, it won't gain momentum. Yeah, we start from the top, but we involve everybody. So this is the second phase. Start at the top, but get everybody involved. The CEO from Nokia is infamous for standing up in front of all members of staff in a town hall meeting in 2008 and saying, we are on a burning platform situation. In other words, if we don't change, we'll die. And it's really important as a business that not only is the top involved, you start at the top, but then you involve everybody straight away. Get them on side straight away. Start that journey. Don't work out the answer before involving everybody. Make sure everybody knows the need for change. The next step is to make the case. And this is where we, once again, we need to set out a case for change. Yeah. So we start at the top, we've involved everybody, we now need to make a case for change. One of my favourite techniques to talk about at this point in time is SWOT analysis. What are your opportunities? So SWOT analysis, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. What are your opportunities? Often referred to as your delta. What's the difference between where you are now and where you want to be in the future? Where do you want to be in that future? Make your case. Okay, make your case. Tug on the heartstrings. A lot of people forget when they write their business case that there's trying to think of the right word here, but there's an element of, it's not just pure financial. Okay, that there's an element of, of the heart in it as well. Where does the organisation want to go? Yeah, Simon Sinek really calls it the why. Okay, the why side. Okay, so what's the emotional case for change? Communicate your message. One of the best vehicles for communicating the change message is the vision statement. Do you have a good vision? Are you able to use it to communicate? Is it written in a language that everybody within your organisation, it says involve everybody. Is it written in a language where everybody in your organisation understands it? Yeah? This is where a lot of organisations go wrong. They use business speak in their vision statement. So they blue sky think, adopting for the future and all this. Just use plain, simple language. Okay? One of the best vision statements I think exists or used to exist was the original Microsoft vision statement. To have Microsoft software in computers in every home and on every desk. How simple is that? Yeah, once again, this is a core vision of the Microsoft Corporation, that Microsoft products will be in every home and on every desk. And that vision was written in 1984. For those of you who were around in 1984 at work, will understand how massive that vision was, but how simple it was as well. Okay, so communicate your message, get it everywhere. Okay, this is why people buy products, because they love the vision. I buy Apple products not because they're necessarily the best product in the world. I just understand Apple's vision. Yeah, their vision is to marry the appliance with the technology. The ease of the appliance with the technology to make that easy. And that's why I buy Apple. It's just easy to use. Yeah. You know, all my family have got Apple products. They just all work. There's no fiddling. There's no work. It just works. Yeah. So that's, you've got to communicate that message. Understand culture. Yeah. I don't care which organisation you ever worked in, but you know, the one rule in business is that culture trumps strategy every single solitary time. If you do something, yeah, or you try to introduce a process that works against your culture, it won't work. Yeah, changing culture is the hardest thing in the world. So understand the culture and understand how you can get your change to fit into that culture, and gradually your culture will change. As an IT professional, my background is information technology. I saw this when I first started working in IT. In the 90s and the 2000s, yeah, the culture was very, very different to the way it is today. And COVID is changing our culture. Social distancing is changing the culture. Yeah. Digital technology is changing the way that we work. You know, get to understand how that culture is changing and build your change into that particular culture. And then finally, sorry, not finally, beg your pardon, penultimately, understand what success looks like. Yeah. Make sure that you know that when you get there, because change is one of those things that you've got to be careful about. Because if you're aiming for perfection, the one thing that we understand is that we'll never hit it, because we live in a changing world. So have an understanding of what success for your change looks like. How are you expecting it to affect your key performance indicators? How are you expecting it to change the people within your business? How are you expecting it to change your portfolio within your business? Might be your assets, etc. Okay. So model the future. Yeah? Make sure that you've got something of detail behind your vision statement that says, when we've attained our vision, this is what our business will look like and how it will work. And then finally, persevere. I beg your pardon. Yeah. Change is hard. Yeah, because you're fighting inertia. You're fighting a culture that's already in place. So one thing you've got to do as a change agent and as a change manager is you've got to persevere. And it's definitely within this COVID environment. With everybody working from home, perseverance is something that you really need to adopt, because it takes longer for people to adopt because they're not working together. So you lose that inertia of the masses working together. So those are the 7 steps to change in my eyes. Yeah, start at the top. Make sure that your CEOs, your C-suite, your senior managers understand the need for change. Involve everybody as soon as you can. Spread that out. Make sure everybody is aware of it. And then, of course, make your case for change. Make sure people understand why you've got to change. Communicate the message. Decide what you're going to do. Create a vision statement. Make sure it's out there. Make sure that you understand culture. The culture of your organisation is already in existence. How is that going to fit in with the change? Understand what success looks like, so model the future so that you recognise it when you get there, and persevere. Keep going. Keep persevering. Okay? Don't give up at the first hurdle. All right? Yeah. If something happens, learn the lesson and move on. So hopefully that gives you guys a good steer, a good start on what to look for when it comes to creating a good environment for change within your organisation. Don't get anchored into where you are, okay? Move into change. Okay, so that's me done. So if anybody's got any questions, yeah, if you want to put them in the questions and answer boxes now. Sophie's going to come in. She's going to be my quiz master.
Hello again.
And hopefully some questions will come in from you guys.
Let's hope so. That was interesting, though.
Yeah, thank you. That was good. All right, super duper. So, what questions have we got, Sophie?
Let's have a look. So we've just had one in, which is, what do you think will be the biggest opportunity for change in the current lockdown? So that's a good one. So what do you think?
Especially in the current lockdown. So we've had the big one, and hopefully we can have a little one.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I hate to be repetitive, but digital. I think the biggest opportunity for change is some sort of digital service. Okay, we did this in the last webinar that we talked about a little bit as well, didn't we? We talked about risk. Digital is here to stay, and I don't think there's an organisation out there that is not digital in some way. I said this last time, I believe. I've got a friend who's got a cafe, and we were having a conversation, and he said to me, "We're not a digital organisation. We're a cafe." And I went, "Have you got a website?" And he went, "Yeah." I said, "Do you do click and collect?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "So there's a digital element. I mean, even farmers are doing it now. Okay, farmers rely on their digital presence to actually do that. So it's really important that we recognise where can we digitise our services so that we can spread them, so that we can provide a better service to our customers. Okay, I mean, don't go digital just for the sake of it. Right? Think about how So if you're in healthcare, then how can you satisfy the general public? Yeah, how can you get the messages out there for public health, etc., etc., so they can be proactive? It's just one of those things that we need to look at.
Great. Well, there you go. The next one we've just had is which element of the change process is the most important?
I'll pick out two.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just go back to the slide, if you don't mind. Yeah, top one and bottom one. Okay.
Nice and easy to
top
remember.
One and bottom one. Yeah, engage your senior managers. If you don't get the buy-in of the senior management, change is not going to happen. Full stop. It gets absolutely nowhere, I'm afraid. Okay, so that's the first thing. Yeah, and then the bottom one. Persevere. Yeah, one of my favourite YouTube videos is called The Dancing Man, and it's taken at a pop festival where one guy gets up and he just dances, and everybody around him laughing at him, everybody's pointing at him and going, "Look at that bloke dancing away." Then one person joins him. Yeah, but it keeps going for about 5 minutes. It's uncomfortable watching it, but then one person joins in, then another person, and then everybody piles in. Yeah, and you've got to remember, guys, that when you make a change, yes, there will be a small element of early adopters. People will go, "Oh, I'll just try it because it's different." But then you'll get to a point where the momentum will shift, and everybody will start to get to it. But it's very easy in that period to think, "Am I doing the right thing?" So if take it on board. Get going, guys. Take it on board. Keep persevering. If you think it's a good change for your organisation, persevere. Don't fall at the first hurdle. Yeah, I remember when Scrum came along, and everybody went, "Oh, let's do Scrum," and then something happened, and everybody went, "Oh, it's Scrum's fault." And they forget that Scrum is completely adaptable. You tailor it. Yeah, and that's not what they were doing. So yeah, sorry. So that's fine.
No, thank you for that question. That was a great one.
Another question coming in?
Yeah, so now we've got, what is the biggest challenge to effective change during COVID?
Distribution. People are at home. Yeah, as a change manager, well, as a previous change manager, I'm a trainer now, which is good. But as a change, I look at it and think, blimey, how would I cope with this? Because when everybody sat together, anecdotally changed, you know what I mean? Where people just talk to each other and go, have you tried this?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, or I've got a problem. Oh, I know the answer to that one.
Yeah.
We've lost that.
Completely
Everybody's at
different
home,
conditions.
completely different conditions. And this is where, as a change manager, you really need to start thinking about, okay, how do we do this? How do we get those change agents into the the home-based working environment? And all I can say is things like webinars are a really good idea on that. Yeah, or Zoom meetings or stuff like that. A little bit of training, but for me, that's probably going to be the biggest problem in the COVID environment.
Next up, which stakeholders present the biggest problem in change?
Senior managers that won't engage. I've been in situations, especially putting digital services in. I've been in situations where I've had out and out blockers. You guys know, you know the stakeholders who go, oh, I'm not doing this, or if it ain't broke, why are we trying to fix it, type of thing. Okay, they're fine. I can win those round by demonstrating what the benefits of the new system is. It's the senior managers that fail to engage. So they're not blocking it, but they're not supporting it. And you need the senior manager to support it. It's a bit like what we talked about last time about the risk owner. If you don't have that sponsor, if you don't have that person driving change, then you've got a problem.
And that's what you will need.
Excellent.
Right, have we got any more? Is that it? I think that might be it for questions. So we'll round it off there, I think.
Well, I've got a couple more things.
Oh.
Yeah, so guys, just, something that we obviously, we're using these webinars to promote our organisation, Certain Limited. We're a brand new organisation designed for the digital age. Welcome to our digital studio. All our courses will be delivered from here. Okay, so 2 courses that I just want you to look at on our website, guys. So we've got the Project Management Fundamentals. So we've got a Fundamentals Series 3, Scrum, Agile and Project Management. Project Management is our newest offering. It's a 1-day course which will teach people the basics of project management, how to use terminology right, how to understand what somebody's rabbiting on about, usually a project manager. Yeah, that type of thing. So Fundamentals 1-day course, look at that. Agile PM, we're now properly accredited to deliver Agile project management courses. It's a certified course through the APMG. 5-day course to do both foundation and practitioner. Okay, once again, have a look at our website and keep an eye on our website because something exciting about the Agile PM course coming up soon. I can't quite, still a bit of a secret because we haven't told the boss yet. Oh. But look for that. We have we have once again the offer. So PM series is the voucher. We get 20% off. Go online, put that in.
A real bargain then.
Yeah, 20% off. You can use that on the 1-day PM Fundamentals course if you want to as well. No problems at all. The next webinar, guys. Next webinar is next week. In fact, there's 2 next week. Okay.
Wow.
Project planning was the one that we planned to do. Where we're going to look we're going to look at estimating particularly.
Okay.
Yeah. How do we estimate in an uncertain world? Okay. But we've also got as well, and you can see this in our events page, guys. We've got new MSP, Managing Successful Programs. It's got a brand new edition, edition 5, literally just launched. So it launched on last Monday. And we've got a quick webinar talking about the differences between the 2. So if you want to go to the events page and book yourselves on a webinar. And then as Steve Jobs famously was known to say, oh, one last thing. Yeah, guys, what we've got on the slide here is what we are actually delivering right now. Okay, so at this moment in time, Certain Limited, we can provide you with the Fundamentals series, Scrum, Agile and Project Management. We can do the Agile Business Consortium's Scrum Master certification. We are accredited to do that. The Agile Project Manager and the Agile Digital Services course and certifications we can give. But big announcement, Sophie. As of the 1st of January, these are the courses that we're going to add to our portfolio.
Dun, dun, dun,
Okay.
dun.
So Prince 2 Agile, Prince 2 infamous, at project management certification, very popular, very well recognised by employers. Okay, if you're applying for a project management job, they fully expect you to have a Prince 2 qualification or an APM qualification, one of those two. So we'll be able to deliver those two.
Well worth doing that.
Yeah. MSP edition 5, so brand new edition of MSP, completely built from scratch, from the ground up. So new principles, new processes, new themes, completely new certification path. Yeah, so we'll be able to deliver that from the 1st of January. And ITIL 4, we've got ITIL 4 accreditation coming along the pipeline now.
Wow.
So we're hopefully going to be able to, right from the get-go, offer the foundation and the transition courses.
Great.
For ITIL 4. So guys,
Lots to look out for.
lots to look out for. Still building the community. So that's our big thing, our online community as well. So look out for that being launched as well soon.
Definitely.
So exciting things are happening. I know we're all locked down, and you and I are going home after this, aren't we? And
Yeah.
locking ourselves away in our little houses. Yeah.
We'll be coming to you from separate places as of next week to adhere to the government guidelines. So that'll be an interesting one.
But hopefully see you next week.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. We will
All right.
see you then.
Bye.